Welcome to the Steve Show. Today I want to talk about the main two things, and sometimes I say the only two things that can go wrong in your marketing and sales. So I've found there's two main things that can go wrong when it comes to marketing and sales. So you're looking to attract clients, to close deals, to gain more clients, and there's two things that could go wrong. Number one, it's the wrong client. You're talking to the wrong people. And if you actually know, no, I'm talking to the right people, I'm talking to exactly who I want to be my client, and you're still not gaining the clients, the second thing that could go wrong is it's the wrong message. And that's it. So we can simplify it down to those two things. So if you know you're talking to the right person and you're not gaining the clients, then you know it's got to be the message. If you feel like your message is doing a wonderful job and it is saying what you need to say, then you're probably talking to the wrong person. And those are the two big things that you need to focus on in order to make a successful marketing campaign, a sales approach. So even if you're talking one-to-one with a new client or a potential client, you need to engage them in that way. Is this the right client? Then you should know if you should even spend time with them. And the second thing is, am I saying the right thing? I'll tell you that I look at, and many of you have heard me, or if you haven't, if this is the first time you're seeing me talk, there's a simple thing that I talk about in order to capture clients and close deals. And I do it in a simple way so you can gain clients without convincing or chasing. And here's what it is. And this is business in general. It's simple. You find your perfect client. I even like to call it your wow client. You ask them what they want, and then you give it to them. You give it to them. And now you can stop guessing. Now you might be an expert, and I hope you are. A lot of people that come to me, they have an expertise in their field, and they're looking how to better communicate. And what happens is we know that they need something else, and that's okay too. You can find your perfect client, ask them what they want, give them what they want, and then teach them what they need. If you start teaching too much at the beginning, you lose too many opportunities and too many people that you can truly help, truly change their life, but you're not able to do it. You know, and if you're in a single product type business, sometimes you even have to look, does my product fit that need? Or is there another product that fits their need? And then they use my product. Whatever it is, you've got to look at this journey. And the simple way, the reason I brought all this up again, for some of you that have heard this before, and if you're just hearing for the first time, is that asking the client what they want does several things. Like one, it gives us the language that we need in our message. I often take exactly the words that my clients say and I put it into my message because they know what they want. And so if I can give them what they want, I'm going to attract more people and I'm going to gain more clients. There's another word, there's a story that I often use, and it's if somebody is hanging off of a cliff, they're hanging off a cliff and you go to help them and you say, hey, grab my hand. Right? Grab my hand. You're there to save them. Grab my hand. And they say, no thanks. Ask yourself, how often has that happened? It's happened to me. I know I've tried to help businesses that I know I can help, and they're about to go out of business, and I offer my help, and they said no thank you. And it would upset me so much because, you know, at the beginning I would feel like, well, I guess they don't see it. It's their fault. But I started to realize that it comes on my shoulders as well. I mean, yes, there's going to be certain people that are not okay with change and they're going to go to their own demise because they're not willing to budge or change at all. So I understand there's situations like that. However, if we communicate in the best way possible, we can actually change, we can influence, we can make a difference. And that comes from talking differently. So when you think of communication, because that's what marketing and sales is, it's being a better communicator, there's three parts to communication. Number one, the communicator. Number two, the message. And the third part is the receiver. Now ask yourself, out of these three, the communicator, the message, or the receiver, which of these three parts is in charge or responsible that the communication happens effectively? I don't know what you guessed, but guess what it is? It's the communicator. It's their job. It was my job. So if I'm talking to somebody that I know I can help and they're saying no, then it's my job to communicate in a different way, because whatever way that I was communicating to them was not effective. So if you go back to the story where someone's hanging off the cliff, if instead of me offering them my hand, hey, grab my hand, if I crouched down and I said, hey, what's going on? And then they said, well, it's not so good. And I could say, oh, I could see that. You're kind of hanging off a cliff. They're like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, your fingers are turning white. Your knuckles are red. Like it's not so good. Is there any way that I can help you? And I'm shortening how this would. Maybe the conversation would go a little longer. But then they say, well, maybe if I had a rope, I could pull myself up. And I'm like, oh, great. So you want a rope? Yes. Oh, if I got you a rope, would you like that? And they're like, yes. Now I could go get a rope. See, if I reached out my hand and I said, grab my hand, maybe they didn't want to just relinquish all of that and be at the mercy of someone else. If they have a rope, even though I'm helping them, by them climbing back up themselves, maybe that worked for them. Every person is different. We need to inquire what's going on. We need to ask more questions. We need to figure out what that individual wants. And by doing so, you're going to end up helping more people. Because you know what it is. It's the same thing. And then once I get that person off the side of the cliff, then maybe I can tell them, hey, do you think it might be a good idea to put a rail up here so this incident doesn't happen again? Do you think it's a good idea if we move away from the cliff so that we're not so close to the edge? There's so many things we could do differently. That's what they need, but that might not be what they want. And even if it's to their own demise, they would stay within what they want because maybe they're not ready to listen to what they need. So you need to look at where's your perfect client, ask them what they want, and then give it to them. And in doing that, we can find out exactly the right message for your perfect client. Because they already have the message. We don't need to invent it. The worst thing you could do, like in all my years in advertising and all the creative stuff we had done, in the early years, we would get so creative, we would lose the message because we would be thinking let's make a movie instead of a commercial, and we were doing it as a commercial. We wanted to make the best commercial possible, but we were over creative and it left us with not a lot of results. And when we broke it down to the basics and we actually found out what the client wanted, we put the exact words right in the ad, the numbers shot through the roof. And people would ask us, what are you doing? And that's actually how I got to start speaking. The reason I'm even here on camera right now helping you is because someone said, Steve, how the heck are you doing this? And I was willing to share. I was willing to just pour it out and say, this is what we had done. And even some people in the advertising industry would tell me, you're an idiot, you're giving everything away. But I've always said if somebody can figure it out on their own, more power to them. And then there's people that are going to want more help from me, and they always have, and I'm here for that as well. But these basic steps, these core principles is what you need to always have in the back of your mind. So go back to the two things. Is this my perfect client? And I mean perfect. I want to make one comment on this before we close this video is I want you to find clients that you love, that you absolutely love working with, because it's horrible to just take a client because you think you have to. You have to gain clients and you need to just take anything you can. And you know what? That will also be to your demise because you'll be unhappy. You'll show up at work and it'll be a job instead of something you love. I only work with people I love to work with, because then I get up every day and I'm excited like you're seeing me right now. I get to live my life like this every day because I refuse to work with people that I can't have fun with, that I can't enjoy what I'm doing. So you pick who you want, then go talk to them. Find who you want to work with. Ask them what they want. Figure out what they want and then deliver the message and then keep changing the message until you get it to where they're saying yes every time. And so these two simple things, find your perfect client, like what I like to call your wow client, and then ask them what they want so that you can deliver the right message. So it's who's the right client and what's the right message. And if you get those two things down, you'll have all the clients you ever want. So right now, the bottom line question is, do you have the amount of clients that you want in your life and in your business? And if the answer is no, then you need to reflect on these two things. You need to examine, am I working with people that I love to work with, and are they the exact fit for my business, for my product, for my service? If the answer is no, then you need to modify who you're looking for. Go to events where your perfect client there already are. Where are they on social media? Where are they? Find those perfect clients. That's number one. Number two, you say the right thing. You listen to what they have to say. You listen to what they want, and you put that in your message. You're going to win all day long. So Just focus on those two things, your perfect client and the right message, and you will see more happen in your business just by doing those simple things. So I hope this is a great message for you today. I'd love to hear from you. Share what your thoughts are. Get involved in the conversation. We will be here to help you. I personally read almost every one of my messages coming through in social media. And so I'd love to hear what's working, where you need additional help. And always we're looking for more topics. So if there's certain things that you want more help on, please suggest so that we can be there and make another episode just about that if enough of you need to hear about it. So thank you so much. I look forward to helping you again soon.